Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us at this Your Overseas Home webinar. My name is Christopher Nye. It's great to have you all with us today, whether you're here with us live or catching up on demand. We're delighted to be able to help you realize your dream to own a property in Spain and go live in Spain, ideally. Today's session will be a maximum of 45 minutes, and for those of you listening in live, there's plenty of opportunity to put your questions to Emma and Christina from JLCA and Associates Lawyers. If you do wish to ask anything, please just type your query into the questions tab on the right-hand side of your screen. And also, thank you to those who sent your questions in advance, and we'll get through as many of those as we possibly can. If you need a reminder of anything discussed today, or you want to share this with family or friends or watch a replay, it's all available on the Your Overseas Home website to watch at your leisure. So I'm delighted today, this evening, to be joined by Emma and Christina from JLCA. Now, Emma has worked for JLCA in the Alicante office for more than 13 years. She's from the UK. And in her capacity as a legal assistant and paralegal, she acts in a client support role in English, and through her experience at the firm and with a team of specialist lawyers covering all areas of Spanish law on hand, she's able to provide clarity and reassurance specific to each client's needs, from the start right through to completion. Christina is a Spanish lawyer. She's got more than 6 years experience specifically in assisting international clients with their visa and passport applications. She is based in our London office, and she specializes in immigration matters. She can provide help and advice to clients about all aspects, from applying for visas, residency applications, purchasing property, to generally about living in Spain. So, enough from me. Over to Emma and Christina. Please tell us how JLCA will be able to assist our viewers today and how they can support them.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Chris. Much appreciated. Just to start off with, I'll just give a brief overview, brief introduction to JLCA Lawyers. We are a Spanish legal firm established over 20 years. We specifically practice Spanish law, but we have offices in Spain, where I'm based in Alicante, also in the UK and in the US. So as such, we are a multilingual firm. We have many staff that are able to speak in various different languages in order to be able to communicate with people, not just on a translation level, but on a cultural level as well. We're also a multidisciplinary firm. We cover extrajudicial work, this being, of course, the topic of today, purchasing in Spain, residency, taxes, generally life in Spain. But we also have full civil and criminal departments to cover those matters as well, dealing a lot with claims for British people with matters in Spain. I'd like to start with just an overview of the topic for today. So I'd like to start off with the 90 in 180 days. I do appreciate this causes a great deal of confusion for people. Since Brexit, this basically means that you are able to stay in Spain as a visitor without any visa for 90 days in every 180 days. This basically means, and I hope this diagram helps to illustrate this, the first day that you arrive in Spain starts a clock which lasts 180 days. You are then able to come to and from Spain for a maximum of 90 days during that period. You can be less, or you can be up to the 90 days, but you can't go over that. Once you reach the 90 days within that period, you would need to leave Spain, and then you would not be able to return until the next 180-day period starts, whether that means you leave here and immediately come back, starting off your next 180 days, or whether you don't come back for another 3 or 4 months and then it starts. But again, the same thing applies. You have then 90 days within that period that you can enjoy in Spain. It's very important to remember it's not just Spain. This is the Schengen area. So you would need to include any other visits that you have in other Schengen countries. So for example, if you're in France, if you're in Germany, if you're in Spain, all of these add up, and it's a 90-day maximum in that 180 days for the whole area, not just for one country within that. Now, obviously, this is more than enough for many people in their holidays, even just coming out for a few holidays in their holiday home each year. But for some, it is quite restrictive. And in that case, you need to start looking at residency options. Now, these residency options, they could be whether you're actually going to retire and spend most of your time in Spain. It could also be a case that you are living in Spain, have your family in Spain, but you're still working in the UK or teleworking or traveling back and forth. These options are all still covered, but my colleague Christina now will just give you a little overview on the residency options.
Thank you, Emma. Basically, I will be super quick because I'm pretty sure that all the attendance today has a lot of questions regarding the rule and the visas and everything. But basically, the most famous visas are the non-lucrative visa and the golden visa. So if you are thinking to retire in Spain, maybe work from your home in Spain, or maybe move to work in Spain, will be the most important for you. So the difference between both are the time you have to spend in Spain to have the visa. So for the golden visa, you have to invest in Spain for a minimum of 500,000, and then you will have the same procedure like the non-lucrative visa. But the difference is you only have to spend 1 day in Spain. With the non-lucrative visa, you don't have to do the investment, but you will have to spend a minimum of 133 days per year. So that basically is the difference. Then lots of clients are asking us about the requirements for the application. Basically, the all the questions that we know that the clients have are regarding the financial means and the insurance policy, but obviously we will be more than happy to help you with both. Regarding the financial means, Mm, we have to study each situation because obviously it's not the same if you have the full amount in your account, if you will have to demonstrate that you have the income because of your pension, or maybe you will be working from home in Spain, so we have to demonstrate your annual income from your company. So we have to study each situation and how to proceed with application in each case. And regarding the policies, I'm pretty sure that all the attendants will know that for the application you have to meet all the consulate requirements. So we work with a number of insurance companies that will be more than happy to provide you all the information and consider your situation and provide you with the most convenient policy for each of you. So that's it.
Okay. Thanks, Christina. Just to sort of finish off, I'd like to sort of bring up the part afterwards. Once people have purchased a property in Spain or become resident in Spain, then there are taxes that are applicable when you're here. So this is quite commonly something that we were asked about. As a non-resident, you will have non-resident tax to pay based on the property that you own. And as a resident, you will need to present annual income taxes with relation to being here. Both of these we can assist with, both of these we can help you to do the presentation. And the other thing to take into consideration afterwards is if you do purchase a property in Spain, that you should consider having a Spanish will in place. Again, that we're able to help with these things. And just generally, if you have any issues with town halls, with utility companies, we offer services to hold your hand all the way through. So basically, if you've got any issues from start to finish, we like to make sure that you're covered for absolutely everything you might need. Now, I'm sure we'd like to get onto the questions as being the most important part of this webinar. So if I'll leave Chris to moderate and let us know what your questions are, we'll try to answer the best we can. But please do feel free to drop us an email at any point afterwards. We'd be more than happy to look at your specific situation and give you the details.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, thanks very much, Christina and Emma. Now, yeah, there are lots and lots of questions coming in. But first of all, can I just ask, So if I'm staying there just for the 90 days, and we've done surveys of our readers or our listeners, and we've asked them how long, if they're staying for holiday home or relocating. And the holiday home buyers, we've often asked them how many days they want to stay there, and a lot of them are staying the full 90 days. They're pushing it right up to the limit. Is there anything that they can't do during that time? So if you're not claiming residency in Spain, you're just staying for your 90 days, then going back to the UK. Is there anything that you can't do? Can you work, for example?
You can't work, no. When you're coming in on the 90 and 180 days, you are a tourist and you're classed as a tourist. So it does not give you permission to work in Spain at all. But apart from that, it doesn't give you any restrictions on what you're actually doing within your holiday. You're free to do the normal things that you would do. But it doesn't give you any rights in Spain in terms of working or studying.
We've had a few questions from people looking for a sort of digital nomad kind of lifestyle, and lots of our readers they're in their 50s. They do a bit of consultancy. Presumably they can still do that kind of work. They can still work for a UK company from their holiday home in Spain. They just can't work for a Spanish company.
Yes, yeah. I mean, basically, if somebody is working during their holiday, and it's not working in Spain, then it's exactly the same as before. What you can't do is start working or studying in Spain on this. You do have to have specific residency or permits to be able to do that. But there's no problem at all. I mean, it's the same as I think we're all guilty of being on holiday and checking our emails and doing the odd bits and pieces. Well, that's still the same.
Okay.
Yes, same happens with the non-lucrative visa, because the clients every time ask this question. Obviously, you can work with a non-lucrative visa if your income is in UK, not in Spain. Same happens with the 90, 180 rule. All your income must be in UK, not in Spain.
Okay, so let's look at the non-lucrative visa now. We've had a question about how long does it take to apply for it, and what's the process? I think we want to know how difficult it is. Is it a real pain, or is it quite easy?
I mean, it's easy, but takes time. You have to. I mean, the problem here is now the consulate has a really huge backlog, so they are taking more than usual, but obviously I could confirm to the clients that the normal time frame to obtain the visas are between 1 month or 2, because you have to obtain all the documentation, we have to translate it and legalize, and then submit to the consulate. And they are providing to the clients with the response in 2-3 weeks, but obviously they have up to 3 months to proceed with to provide the visa. So it will depend always of the backlog of the consulate, but obviously for my understanding now is taking around 1-2 months the whole procedure.
Okay, well that's very reasonable. And what about the cost? How much is it going to cost me to get a non-lucrative visa?
Depends, because obviously you have to pay the visa fees, that is around 500 at this point, but you have to pay also the legalization fees, the translation fees, and obviously if you would like to ask to help you with the process, the legal fees. So without the legal fees, maybe are around 600 to obtain the visa.
The thing is, if anybody specifically wants us to go through their situation, then we can provide a quote and break down all of the costs that's going to be involved. It's free of charge and without obligation to have these initial conversations. But what we do advise is, because of what Christina is saying, some of the paperwork is quite easy to put together.
Yes.
Some of it is a little bit more complicated. It has to be translated. So if you want to start the process a bit earlier, just to get everything in order, you then have it prepared and properly timed for when it actually does arrive to the point of your consulate appointment.
Okay. Okay, so I've had a question from Robert. He would like to know, is it possible to stay in Spain longer than 90 days while waiting for residency?
No. The reason, there's a good reason for this as well. The majority of the applications are non-lucrative visas. With your non-lucrative visa, you have to do the application from the UK via the Spanish consulate in the UK. So you have to be in the UK when you have that appointment, and you will be taking your passport physically in with you in the UK.
Yes,
Okay.
you are not allowed to enter in Spain when you are waiting for your visas.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Now, Linda has asked, do we need to start the residency application before buying?
It's entirely up to you. You do not have to be a property owner to be resident.
No. Okay.
It depends. Sorry, Emma. If she would like to apply for the golden visa, she will have to buy the property before to apply to the golden visa, because she has to submit the deed for obtain the visa. But if it's for the non-lucrative visa, it's completely up to her. Yeah.
I mean, the point is, you can own a property as a resident or non-resident, and being a resident, you can be a property owner or not.
Got it. Okay. Oh, so what about rentals? So suppose I'm a non-resident, but I'm doing a bit of rental on my property. How does that work with the tax situation?
It depends on whether you're resident or non-resident. If you are resident, then it would be part of your income, which is going to be part of your annual income tax. And if you're a non-resident, then there is a specific tax return that we can present in order to cover that for you.
Okay. Now, this one is from Gary. We are retiring, and the visa for us is non-lucrative. But the only thing stopping us is the amount of savings we need to have, and we believe this doubles up for year 2 until year 5. So, can you explain the income requirements, the income or savings requirements for getting the non-lucrative visa?
It doesn't double up. That's one thing. I mean, Christina's just going to go through that, but the amount of income that is required is based on the IPREM figure in Spain, the main index. And although that increases slightly each year, it doesn't go up by a massive amount. So, I mean, Christina, if you'd like to sort of run through it.
No, but basically they have to demonstrate the minimum just for 1 year. I mean, they will think, I mean, it's not important the renovation at that point, but yes, at least they will have to demonstrate that they have the income of, I think for the couple is around now for 34,000 approximately, for the applicant and one member of the family. So they will have to demonstrate that maybe they have the pension income or maybe a rental income or whatever, but we have to demonstrate that annually they have that kind of income in the account. Doesn't matter if they have the whole amount at the point of the application in the bank account. So they have to demonstrate that they have that minimum for 1 year at least.
And then the whole point with these renewals of the residency, obviously the first one will last for a year, and then your next one will be every 2 years for 2 years, and then every 5 years. Each point of the renewal, you will again have to demonstrate that you have the annual income that covers that figure. As I say, at the moment, it's just over 34,000 euros for a couple. It'd be about 27,000 euros for one person. We can break it down exactly for anyone that wants to have a look at for their situation, but that only goes up by the index each year. That's basically the public income index. So at the moment for 2022, at the start of 2022, that was 579 per month. So it's a multiplier effect for the whole year. But then, as I say, as Christina said, it doesn't mean that you have to have that amount in savings each renewal. That can be an accumulation of some savings, or it can just be based on your pension income. It can be based on your salary from the UK. If you're working from the UK over here, it's just to demonstrate over the course of a year that you would have that amount of funds available, or it can be a mixture.
So, sorry, I knew I'd do that at one stage. Okay, so we're getting lots of questions about what. Firstly, I'm in a couple, and one of us has an EU passport, whether Irish or different one. So, can you tell me a little bit about what is different if your partner is an EU citizen?
Actually, it's a question that we come across quite often. If you are going to be applying for residency as an EU citizen, it is a different application, and the amounts of funds that you have to have over the month are lower. Over the course of the year are lower. In these cases, the person who has the passport is able to make the application, and then a spouse is able to be attached as the spouse of a EU resident in Spain. So it's a different process that we go to. But there's two things that are very important when we're looking at these. First of all, it is a spouse. People do have to be married, or what they call parejas de hecho, which is a specific formalization of a partnership. Civil partnership is not accepted, and obviously just people that have been living together, even though that they have got that history together, it wouldn't be counted as spouse. So you would have individual applications if that was the case. So you wouldn't be able to be attached. The other thing is the person that has the passport has more freedom to travel. They're not going to be bound by the Schengen rules that we talked about, to the 90 and 180 days. But the spouse, if they're on a British passport, is still bound by those. Even if they are married, they don't gain the rights of the person that has a EU passport until they've got the residency.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, we're also getting lots of questions about the 500,000 euro golden visa. Now, I don't know whether to pick out some specific ones or whether to, or whether just perhaps you could just explain it in simple terms what the process is. So I go to Spain, I find a lovely house, 500,000 euros. What happens next?
It's important that this amount, I mean, they don't have, they don't have to, should be free of the mortgage. It should be a full amount of 500,000 euros. Doesn't matter if it are two properties, maybe the investment is in stock or whatever, but it is important that the minimum must be without mortgage.
Okay, so sorry. So you could buy a 250,000 euro house and put another 250,000 into some kind of stocks and earn an income from it, say.
Yes, you have to demonstrate that the minimum of the investment has been made. Doesn't matter which kind of investment. Sorry.
I think the important point, as Christine is saying, it can't have. We're normally talking about property investment, and it has to be free of encumbrances. So it is 500,000 clear of any mortgage or any loans against it. The other thing to remember as well is that is in the name. It's in the name of the applicant. So, for example, if you have a couple that are buying a property and they're buying it's 500,000 euros. And they buy it in both names, what that actually means is each person has got 250,000 euros.
Yes.
So if that was going to be the basis of a couple, then it would need to be in the name of one person and then attach the spouse to that application.
And you can do that.
Yes, so, yes. Yeah. But the thing is, if you buy it in two names, it wouldn't be enough for one applicant to be able to go through.
I see what you're saying. Okay. And how long does that process take? Firstly, if I buy the property, is there any chance that I won't get the visa? Or does the process sort of happen hand in hand?
I mean, are two different. You have to meet all the visa requirements. Doesn't matter if you bought the property or not. If you bought the property but then you could not demonstrate that you have the minimum income, you will not have the visa. So you have to meet both requirements. Have the property if you are applying for the golden visa, and all the visa requirements that's similar for the non-lucrative visa.
Okay. Now, what about the other requirements for getting residency? For example, and now personally, I'm as white as driven snow. But suppose you had a criminal case against you in your misspent youth. What would that prevent you getting a visa?
It's important that you don't have criminal records, but when we talk about criminal records, we are obviously talking about active criminal records. If your criminal records are maybe from 10 years ago, obviously they are not active anymore. So in the criminal records will appear as not trace or not record active. I don't remember exactly the wording of the criminal records, but obviously it is important that the criminal records are not active at the point of the application. If not, obviously they will deny the visa.
Okay, so for example, if you're being questioned about a party in Downing Street, say, you wouldn't perhaps be able to escape to Spain.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's interesting. Okay,
No parties allowed.
Not till you get here.
Right, we've got a couple about private health insurance. When applying, this is from Graham, when applying for Spanish residency, I have read that you need private health insurance. I've also read that as a UK pensioner resident in Spain, I am entitled to free healthcare, presumably it means via the S1 form. So can you explain about healthcare?
Yeah, absolutely. There is still in existence the reciprocal agreement between the UK and Spain. And that required the S1 form. So if you qualified for the S1 form in the UK, then you would be able to apply for that reciprocal cover from Spain. However, that reciprocal cover is based on you being resident and having a padron for at least a year. Padron is a town hall register, so basically it's saying where you live in Spain. So you need to be resident and have lived here for a year, have the padron in order to be able to make the application for the reciprocal cover. So what that means is that if you do qualify, you will be able to apply for it later on when you're in Spain, but initially for the application, you will still need to get the private cover.
Yes.
Okay. Right, we've got a question from Richard. Would we have to leave our passports with a consulate while we apply for a visa? I travel a lot for work. Do you have to hand your passport over for a while?
Yes, I mean, in a normal situation, they could provide you with the passport between, I mean, in 1-2 weeks. But obviously, if something happens with your application, if you have to submit more information or whatever, they could, I mean, your passport could be taken for longer. But yes, you have to leave your passport with the Spanish consul.
Okay. Now we're getting some complicated ones here. Well, not complicated, but individual. My husband will be in receipt of a state pension when we move to Spain, but I will not. Can you tell me, can we stay more than 90 days? He will hopefully have an Irish passport. I'm worried about buying a house that I can't stay in full time. So her husband is over pension age. She's not. So he can presumably get a visa, but she can't. Would that be the case?
I take it the question is based on without having a pension that they wouldn't have the requirements to cover the annual amounts.
Yes, I guess so. Yeah, I can see that's a problem because so if one person's over retirement age, but their pension isn't enough, but your dual income, is quite good, but you're still being paid by a British company, then I guess you fall between two stools.
As I say, if the person is working from a UK company and in Spain, the UK income, if it can be counted towards, as long as they're able to function living in Spain as a resident, because they'd need to be here for a minimum of 183 days. Then they can do that. I mean, your income then, one person's would be based on their pension, one person's would be based on their salary outside of Spain. Mm-hmm. But the basis is you will need to meet the requirements. Now, if this couple, because you said about being EU based, having an EU passport, well, again, you've got the option that we spoke about a short while ago, having the residency based on the European, which has a lower requirement in terms of the monthly income. I think it's about 500 a month, something like that. Mm-hmm. I've got the details. So if anybody has that specific inquiry, do drop me a line and I'll give you the details for it. And then attach as a spouse to that residency. But again, you've got to make that choice. I mean, you are either bound by the 90 and 180 days, or you are resident in Spain when you're here for 183. However you then juggle the work, the pensions, obviously is dependent on your situation, but the options are 90 and 180 days as a tourist visa, or residency in Spain, which is 183 days, unless you have the golden visa, which you only have a requirement to be, you have residency in Spain, but you only need to be here for 1 day a year.
It's important to know that with the golden visa, you could study and work in
Also, yes.
in Spain.
Right. Okay. Does a UK state pension increase every year like it does in the UK?
It is your UK pension that is being evaluated.
Yes, but I think I guess the question really is about if you moved to Australia, your pension was frozen when you moved there.
Yeah, and Canada as well is the same thing. It's not index link anymore when you go to those countries. It always has been still index linked here.
Okay, so it's still index linked, so you still get the triple lock or whatever it is at the moment.
I mean, basically, what we're seeing in each one is that your pension goes up by whatever normal amount, and it's just assessed here on what that amount is issued from the UK. Doesn't get frozen.
Okay, a lot of these questions now you've already covered. If you meet all the non-lucrative visa requirements, is there any reason why your application would be rejected?
No. I mean, no.
Well, as long as you make, there is a list of requirements. You have to have the medical cover, the criminal history obviously has been brought up. You have to have the requirements for the financial means. You'll have to provide passport and identification documents, and as long as it's all correctly presented, this is what we like to do with people, is to make sure you have absolutely everything perfect for that application. And if there is any issue, if they do come back with anything, then we work with you to get through it to maximize the approval rates that you got. This shouldn't, unless there's something very, very unusual, there's no reason why somebody can't get this through.
Anyway, now the consulate is changing the requirements of the insurance policies, and they are coming back to the clients or to us asking for new requirements. So that's the reason maybe they could reject at that point the application. But obviously we are now coordinating with the insurance agents and with everything, with all the requirements of policy requirements. They are accepting now the visas. So I mean,
okay,
they will accept for sure if you have everything, obviously.
We've had a few people who are worried about their health situation. One person has had a kidney transplant, another one is disabled. They're worried that their application is going to be refused on the basis that they are kind of a health risk, presumably for the Spanish state.
There is a specific, I mean, Christina, you can probably clarify exactly. There's a specific certificate that you have to prove that you don't have particular diseases such as Ebola that are considered dangerous. But just having a disability or transplants, all of these things, that isn't a bar to be able to come and be resident in Spain. But what you do need to make sure is that you've got sufficient medical cover for your condition. Now that's the same if you're going to be living here as a resident and you have to fulfill the requirements obviously for the residency application, but the same care that you would take obviously if on a holiday to make sure you've got that cover. But Christina, the specific certificate.
I think that they mean the non-allowed infections in Europe. Now, are kind of infections issues, no disabilities or something like that. So I will pass the full list of the reglement and everything. But yes, are infections and not this kind of
so
issues,
you talk about things like
issues.
Ebola. Infections that have caused serious risk. Obviously, COVID's not on that list.
No.
Okay. Can I just ask before? Well, a few people have asked: is it likely that that the Spanish government will eventually? And I believe that the mayor in the Costa Blanca or something has already said this. That Spain will sort of unilaterally say, "Look, to hell with the whole 90 to 100 days thing. We're just going to let people come and do what they like." Is there any chance that they will relax the rules? Do you think? Is it?
It's very difficult to say, because the reality is that relationship between the UK and Spain has always been very, very strong. There are a very large number of expats here in Spain, and there are a very large number of Spanish people in the UK. And we've already got a lot of reciprocal agreements in place. It isn't just a case of Spain turning around and changing the rules. I mean, this is a fallback position of Schengen area. It applies not just for Spain, it applies to all of these countries. So it is a question of the UK and Spain coming to another agreement specifically around that. We don't know. I mean, the discussions, it's something that everybody wants. It would be better for tourism over here. It would be better for tourism over in the UK. There's a lot of benefits from changing it, but we don't know how, if, or when.
Okay. Now, so one from Sophie. To clarify, I'm in my 50s, so not retired. I'm assuming that my UK, God, I can't speak. My UK income needs to be 34,000 to qualify for the non-lucrative visa, or does it only apply if you've retired? Because it has to be like a passive income, doesn't it?
That income is for the applicant and a family member. If it's just for one, the income could be less. But yes, it's for all the applicants. Doesn't matter if you are retired or not.
So if I'm right, so if I've just got if I'm fortunate enough to be in my 50s, but I've retired early, I can still get the non-lucrative visa. Just based on that, I don't have to be over a certain age. But I think Sophie's saying that she's not retired, but she's earning an income, but she'd still like the non-lucrative visa. But by definition, it's non-lucrative if she's earning it.
Yeah, I was to say the non-lucrative visa is not limited to pensioners. It is anybody that wants to live in Spain and fund themselves from outside of Spain, irrespective of your age or what that income is, whether it's just enough, whether it's way over, it makes no difference. It is a specific set. This is how much the Spanish government understand that you need to have in your account in order to live in Spain and not be a burden on the system.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, basically, as an example for everyone, we are now coordinating a visa for a client that he is in his 20s, and we are coordinating with his company to demonstrate that he will have the minimum income during the year. So he will be working from home from Spain, but obviously all his income will be here in UK. So we are coordinating now everything with his company, because obviously he only has in the bank account the income from the company monthly. So doesn't matter if you are retired or not.
Okay. Now, here's an interesting one. What if you and your partner get the non-lucrative visa, but one of you stays in Spain for the 183 days and the other does not? Does that change anything?
It's if you have a non-lucrative visa, you must comply with the 183 days, or on renewal, it will be revoked.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay. So what do you do if one of the company wants to stay of a married couple? So you got two homes, one in Spain, one in the UK. One of you wants to stay for 183 days in Spain, and one wants to stay for 183 days in the UK. One would have the visa, and then one would only be able to stay there for 90 days at a time, presumably.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that sounds quite a nice arrangement.
It depends on everybody's situation.
I might suggest that. Okay. What do we? Okay, just explain again, because we're still having questions about it. The difference between the golden visa and the non-lucrative visa. just in a nutshell, so those who aren't sure can go away happy that they know the difference.
Yeah, basically there are two main differences. The first one is the investment. You have to do the investment for the non-lucrative, for the golden visa. The other one is the period you will have to be in Spain. For the golden visa, you only have to spend 1 day. Obviously, if you prefer to stay the whole year, you are more than welcome to stay the whole year in Spain. But you only have to spend 1 year in Spain, and with the non-lucrative visa, you have to spend 183 days in Spain. So this is the difference. And then with a non-lucrative visa, all your income must be in UK. You cannot work and study in Spain. And with the golden visa, your income could be in Spain or UK, and you could work and study in Spain.
Okay. Is there, while I flick through and see if there's any more questions I can find that won't take too long, is there anything else that you want to get across to British people while they're well, also, no, firstly, does most of what you've said apply to Americans and people from other parts of the world?
Yes, it does. You say Americans as an example. We do have an office in the US, and we do process non-lucrative and golden visas for people from there coming to Spain as well. What we're talking about, the two different options, you've either got these options we've spoken about for non-EU members, and then we've got the other option of residency in Spain as an EU member. So we can cover all of those. And given, as I mentioned before, we're a multilingual office, we have staff that are native German, French, Spanish, English, Russian. We cover a great deal of languages from here, so we're able to offer that service and the language support for all of those options.
Okay. So my other question was: is there anything else that you would like that you think that people should take away from today that we haven't perhaps covered?
All I can sort of really finish up with, I mean, we've gone through the different options. You can come and enjoy Spain as a tourist. You can come as a resident. You can work here. You can retire here. I mean, it's a wonderful option for people now to be able to actually work because of the whole changes with COVID. The whole ability to be able to telework, work from home, has opened up that market a great deal over here. It's a lot nicer to sit here in the sun with a glass of wine at the end of work, I would imagine, than it is to be stuck in the rain in the UK. But anyone that's got questions with regards to their specific situation, our details are obviously up there. Drop us an email, give us a call, or give us your details. We can arrange a telephone call or a Zoom call. If you're in Spain, we can arrange a meeting in our offices. In the UK, we have a London office. If you wanted to arrange an appointment to discuss your specific situation, we can do so. We're more than happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Fantastic. Okay. Now, shall I let's just ask this one last question, because it is something that we always get asked. Spanish driving licenses. If I move to Spain, do I have to take a Spanish driving test, or can I just keep my UK license, or for how long?
Okay. It is something that's been quite a contentious issue. Originally, the fallback position is that it's not recognised as a license, as a European license anymore. So at the start, I mean, obviously the Spanish government fully recognised that it would be impossible and ridiculous to be asking every person that was driving on a British license to take their license again in Spain and do it again here. It's just not practical. So they extended several times the period in which the British driving license would be recognised. We've had it confirmed. One of our senior lawyers was at a state webinar recently where the traffic office is right now working on a swap over arrangement for people to be able to change their license from a UK license to a Spanish license when they're here. But obviously none of this applies if you're on holiday, because normally if you're hiring a car, it's exactly the same as other countries, that you can use your British license in order to arrange a hire car.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right. Well, look, Christina and Emma, you've been really helpful. for our hundreds of listeners. Now we have, let me just say, we've got more webinars and coming up. So do look out on the Your Overseas Home site for more upcoming webinars. And we've also got our big biannual virtual event, the biggest virtual property show, where you can meet the experts and chat to them one-to-one, just like this. So there won't be me in the middle. You can just chat with Christina and Emma directly. And that is on the 26th of March. That's a Saturday, the 26th of March. So do please sign up for that. It's all free, and there's lawyers, there's estate agents, there's all sorts of people. So until the 26th of March, thank you once again to Christina and Emma, and thank you for attending. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much.